Hello, good morning. You are watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Asuri Balde. We are back again on another edition of QTV this morning here. We're broadcasting from our studios on Kairaba Avenue, West Africa, the Gambia, and we are located in Serekunda. Of course, that's our address. Africa, that's where you are Africa, receiving our satellite from. Yeah, so if you're just tuning in, this is the program where we discuss a lot of things. I mean, the newspapers, the African code, and of course, simultaneously, we also deal with other issues as well, side by side. It's very significant. And Julde Njai, it's the co-host today. I mean, Julde, I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you very much.
I was tired of being sandwiched by gentlemen.
I know,
It
right?
should be balanced.
You don't see what he was trying to do, but I did not let him. Good morning, Balde. Good morning, Mr. Adi, and to our viewers from wherever you're watching us from. It's good to be back here.
Absolutely.
Balde, Mr. Adi and Mr. Mboch, they always try to be on the other side. They always want to be on the same
want
page.
to pull my legs.
But I am here. I am here too.
Julde is here to defend you. And he's always really buoyant and happy when you're here.
Yes, absolutely.
It's a different Balde.
Absolutely, because you and Mr. Mboch, you always want to deal with me on this platform. So I don't accept. I refuse to be caged.
That's right. Which is good. Which is good.
They can't cage me.
You cannot. Even the cage bird can sing.
Absolutely. So, Mr. Ade, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm very well.
What's up? What have been going on? I mean, the QTV News department.
Yeah.
What have you been up to?
Yesterday was a crazy day. One of those weird days when from morning till 9 o'clock I was really busy. It's like I didn't even have the time to kind of step back and relax. You know, sometimes during the day I might, put the headphones on and listen to music. Yesterday I didn't even get 5 minutes to do that. I don't know why. It was just one of those days in the office. But,
To listen to the news?
No, I mean, sometimes I take a break and for 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes I listen to music, just on my headphones. Got iTunes on my Mac, but I didn't even get a chance for 1 minute of that yesterday. Wow. It helps to relax me. So, but yeah, yesterday was a kind of full-on day in terms of work. Yeah.
Well, it's significant. You just mentioned it helped to relax you. Each and every individual, you need to get something to refresh you.
Yeah.
Going to the beach side or sitting by yourself, thinking. What's going to be your next move. Each and every individual, you have what keeps you going, what refreshes you. Julia, what refreshes you? You listen to music, or you take a drink, or you
read a book, or what? What is it?
I go to the beach.
You go to the beach?
Whenever I want to have that peace of mind, relax, It's a big therapy for me, the beach. I love the beach.
Cool.
I don't like the beach anyway. Yes,
I mean, you don't like sand in
it's
your
not
toes
my,
or something?
it's the wind for me.
Oh, well, it's not always windy.
When that wind,
sweeps in from the Atlantic.
Especially when it lands on my head, it gives me headache.
Oh.
Yeah, so I avoid the beach a lot,
Okay.
So, Mr. Ade, music keeps you going.
Music is my thing, always has been since I was a youngster. Yeah. And when I want to just tune out of whatever's happening around the world, there's a million music genres that can fit the mood, whatever mood I'm in. So I just go and I just delve into that. It could be jazz today, reggae, mbala. It could be, sukus, zouk, whatever. There's like so many styles, and I love lots of kind of music. So yeah, I always find the right thing.
I mean, I'm glad that at least we are able to know what relaxes us, when we're confronted with certain things in life. There are individuals who do not know what really calms them when they're really high or they are tense, they're stressed out and all of that. But it's good to actually know what really relaxes you whenever you're stressed out. It's important.
Absolutely. For me, the thing that relaxes me, it's watching FBI Files.
I was going to say, because you've mentioned before.
FBI Files.
So that's your thing.
With Tiara juice.
Right.
Tiara drink. Yes, I think Tiara.
I hope they're going to pay you for that
advert. Yeah.
Yes. That's what keeps
I mean, for me, yes, because I've said many times on here that I watch a lot of documentaries more than I watch feature films, But in terms of like really relaxing, it's music. It always has been. Or I read. Like recently, I've gone to Bakote, and I bought loads of books, some classic books by writers like Graham Greene, Chaucer, lots of stuff, and they're cheap. So if I'm not careful, I'll end up with a big library here like I have in the UK. I mean, in the UK, I've got about 3,000 books.
Yes.
In my library,
Nice.
so it's quite big.
Yeah. So, guys, let me give you a rundown of today's program.
Yeah.
We'll take a look at the code. From the code, something very interesting will come. The newspaper review. From there, strengthening ties, new bilateral labor agreement with Spain and Saudi Arabia.
Yeah,
You
interesting
understand?
ones. They've been debated in the
Yes.
at the National Assembly. Pedro Sanchez, the Spanish Prime Minister, was here recently, beg your pardon. And yeah, that was quite an important one. He visited here, visited Senegal. And so it will be interesting. I'll be certainly watching this discussion later on. Yeah.
Well,
and what else do we have?
it would definitely be interesting. Then, Women for Association for Victim Empowerment, women transition to economic empowerment.
Okay.
So we'll also have that segment as well. So they'll be here. We see how they're going to empower women. Very significant. We talk about women empowerment all the time.
And for the person who met me on Sunday and said, what happened to the click segment, I think you'll have to ask Balde. I didn't know what to tell them. They said they really enjoyed that slot on this morning, but it's not here anymore. So
Well, the click currently is under review. We want to see what to put together so that we can make it more interesting. You understand? The 10-minute slot for the click, we are going to see what to put together so that we can learn and gain a lot from it.
So, young lady who met me on Sunday, there's your answer.
Yes, yes.
Because I didn't know what to tell
Yes. So, Julia, take us through the African code.
So our African code this morning, every town has its own way of cutting up a chicken.
Yeah.
That's direct.
Yeah, huh?
It's direct.
It's deep and direct,
Yeah.
but yeah, it just tells you about different places have different traditions.
Yeah.
It might be the same thing, but you know, everybody has their own, you know, tradition, and sometimes it's unique to that. It's, you know, when I read it, I thought of the whole jollof rice argument, like who makes it better, and of course the debate is not who made it first, but who makes it the best, which is kind of a West Africa. For some reason, Nigeria and Ghana like to.
Take
When
ownership.
everybody knows it's Sierra Leone, but anyway.
But to be very honest, I don't like Nigeria's jollof rice.
It depends.
I don't like Ghana's
You can never
jollof
be
rice.
sweeping like
I mean,
that because
the
it
more-
depends on. You might have had a bad experience because the Nigerian or the Ghanaian who cooked it might not be that good, but there are good ones.
Yeah.
Just as there are good Gambians and Sierra Leoneans and so. So it's a kind of debate that would never ever.
Well, I've
be.
seen many people eating fried rice here, too. I mean,
fried rice is fried rice.
well, I don't enjoy it much.
Yeah.
Yes.
But again, you see, you get somebody who's good at it.
it's more
you
of,
might really end up licking
for me,
your plate.
when I eat fried rice, it's
Yeah.
more of benachin.
Okay, right.
You know,
Okay, it's
Benachin,
closer
they
to
call
that,
it
yeah.
fried rice.
Benachin
But our
Right,
mode
right.
of
Yeah.
cooking benachin
Right.
is totally different from the fried rice.
Yeah, okay.
You know, our own benachin, you know, is properly cooked. But the fried rice, I think they just fry the rice.
Fried rice
like
is
that.
fried rice. It's a separate thing. It's a different thing. But to go back to the quote.
Can you cook egusi?
I
and
try.
bitter leaf? I love
Yeah,
it.
you
I
love
love
egusi.
Yeah,
egusi.
it's really
okay.
I
nice.
love egusi and bitter leaf.
Yeah.
Mm.
You see,
I eat for more.
Yeah.
Oh, this wow.
Yeah.
More.
Do you have a Nigerian friend?
Well, I was going to say.
I go to Nigerian restaurants,
Wow.
Or
man.
if you go to Lagos, you'll enjoy. Or even you go to London,
London.
there are now quite a lot of Nigerian restaurants in
Ah.
London. Yeah, and some of them
Okay.
quite what you would call high end, like very expensive.
Yeah.
And then you have the kind of in places like Peckham and Brixton, not so expensive, but the food there is. I mean, there's one place, Obalende Suya. Boy, if you go there in Peckham, you see the long queues
I know
of
Suya.
people. Yeah, the Suya, the thing. But that place,
Suya is
anytime you go there,
it's a
there's a-
compost
there's a
meat,
crowd.
right? Suya.
Huh?
Suya. It's meat.
meat. It's the meat. There you can have chicken or you can have meat, and the suya is the kind of powdery pepper
Oh.
thing that they
put on the meat.
they put on it.
It tastes good.
Hey, it tastes very good. So it's got granules, it's got pepper, it's got
Oh.
other things. And I'm telling you, that place in
Now,
Peckham,
is it
on
not what
Peckham
we
High
call
Street,
forochaya here?
is what?
Forochaya? We call it frochaya in the
I
Gambia.
don't
Oh, it's
know.
different. Okay.
It's probably different.
Faha
It's
is
probably
telling me.
different.
He said it's different.
Because even in Nigeria, the ones who are meant to be very good at it are the Hausa people.
Okay.
And they're like the experts when it comes to suya.
Mm.
But yeah.
All right,
but yeah,
let's
so,
see how
you know,
Gambians and Sierra Leoneans cut their own
that's
chicken.
their chicken.
Yes.
Well, yes, as it says, you know, everybody has their own tradition. You go somewhere and you'll see
Sukuya.
something, and they'll say, is that how you people do it here? And then you go somewhere else, you say, oh, you know, it could be anything. You know, just that this thing is a tradition in this country, and something else is to get to the same end, but they do it differently. And so, yeah, this is what the proverb is telling me, but I'm not sure. What's it telling you, Balde?
It's telling you every country or every people, they have their own way of doing their own thing. You understand? You might go to another country. Okay, let's take a look at normally the azan, you know, call for prayer. If you go to other countries, you don't hear azan when it is time to pray.
Other Muslim countries?
Other Muslim countries. You know, I engaged a friend.
Right.
According to what he said, well, for us in the U.S., it's not like anytime they call for prayer, like
in the U.S.
like the way they do in the Gambia. Yeah, we have a corner.
No, in
where
the
we all
US,
gather.
the US is not a Muslim country,
not.
but in
Yeah.
most Muslim countries.
Yeah, so
would,
it's telling you how things can be different in other countries.
Yeah.
But now, how are you going to adopt as an individual when you get to that country?
Or adapt.
That's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's and you do adapt. I mean, in the UK, area called Bradford, there's a big sort of Bengali population, and they wanted to be able to call the adhan from the tower.
Yeah, I saw that.
And you know, people complained, but you know, these were the same people who didn't mind when the church bells were ringing, and you could hear them all over the city. So that argument, you can shut it down in 1 minute. You know, the church bells are even louder than the azan. So, what's your complaint about noise?
But eventually, the azan was called. You know, I saw a video.
In
Someone
the
calling
States.
the azan.
You can. I mean, it depends. It depends on how. But I wouldn't use that as an example, because the United States is not a Muslim country. If you compare Muslim country to Muslim country, because like you said, if you go to these countries where maybe they don't allow it, you adapt. And you know, when you adapt, for example, when I used to go and pray at Gooch Street Mosque, as you approach the mosque, and almost in the center of London, you could hear, and also Regent Street Mosque, you could hear it from inside the mosque, being
Okay,
called.
interesting. So, Julia, what's your own point?
What's
Before we
my
go to
own
the
point?
newspaper review?
Basically, we are all talking about the same thing. It's about adaptability, resilience, and to be able to actually cope with the way of life of other people, to allow that diversity. Because wherever you are, I mean, people live differently. But if you have that sense of rigidity, if you are rigid as an individual, you can't easily adapt to other people's cultures, their traditions, or their way of life. So it's very important to be flexible wherever you are, so that you get to learn new things. Who knows, maybe what you know, and if you're open to other ideas and innovations, perhaps you will even find that more interesting than what you're used to.
That's an interesting take, because you're saying about, because for me, you're saying about adapting to what you find.
Exactly.
For me, it's a case of, if this is me, this is my culture, I might need to adapt my thing to suit me, rather than adapt to suit the culture I find.
Exactly.
Because, you know, this is me. I'm not going to forget myself. It's like, you know, when I was growing up, my father would never speak Mandinka around us. And so we never learnt it. But he'd speak it to his sister, speak it to his cousins. We never learned it. Oh, we don't want to spoil your English accent. To me, that was too much adaptation, really, because I was born in London, but by the age of 5, I was living in Sierra Leone. And yet I went to school with Lebanese and Indian children who spoke the parents' language at home. It didn't spoil their accent. So I never, you know, like I've said many times, never forgave my father for that. And so you shouldn't change yourself. You can adapt because you find yourself in a different situation. But don't change who or what you are.
You are to suit.
I remember when my son went to the States and my ex-wife, after 9/11, they were scared to, you know, call his names in school and college. He's Alpha Abdul. And I'm like, you know, be yourself. You know, if people ask you, are you a Muslim? You tell them. You know, you weren't responsible for 9/11. Not every Muslim was responsible for what happened.
Those were really, really tough times for Muslims.
Yes, many of them, even some who had gone there and were wearing the hijab, stopped wearing it because it was too identifiably Muslim. And so that was a kind of weird kind of having to adapt just to preserve yourself. And because there are too many crazy people out there, we know, who would attack you just for how you look. So,
Yeah, so...
Yeah, so an interesting one.
We move.
Again, we move.
And now we take a look at the papers.
I don't have any, but I'm sure you two have.
Yes, so Julde, I
on
have
your pad and your phone.
one of the papers
Is
here.
it the Standard, Furoya, and Point newspaper?
And we have some juicy headlines.
Yes.
Okay. Government names companies licensed to recruit workers to Spain.
It's the same. Yeah.
And you're going to be discussing this later.
And it's going to be a very interesting discussion.
It should be.
You know?
It should be.
Yes.
Because that's been one of the debates. How will people... But it was always said that there will be accredited companies that will be allowed to be involved in the recruitment. And people will be scrutinizing that with a fine-tooth comb because we don't want corruption around it. We know what we're like. You know, sad to say. You know, every opportunity seems to present an opportunity for corruption and for corrupt people.
Yeah,
so let's try and be honest about it. Let's be open about it, and let it be you know, a situation where whatever the vetting process is open to scrutiny and you know, accountability, and that's what we want. Because honestly, I'm getting
crazy,
sick of
not at the government level, but even at individual level. A colleague of mine reached out to me on Sunday to say that they have certain individuals going to their village to inform those people that there is this new government scheme that is allowing workers to go to Spain, and all they need is to give them money so that they can help them with their passports and all of that.
I know.
I said that is a scam.
That's exactly
we are going to start this.
Yeah.
It will work for 6 months and it will stop.
And that would be a shame.
I am pretty sure.
Because
the way people are going to use this opportunity.
Or abuse it even. Yes.
To abuse it, Mr. Ade. That's the right word, you know.
Yeah.
So
I mean, for me, that's the shame, and that's the kind of thing I'm hinting at. I didn't even know about the example that Julde has just given, but that's exactly the sort of thing. People will say, oh, you know this news, because everybody's heard of it. Because, you know, there's always this kind of rush to get out of the country. And people might think, oh, and, you know, for those who get it, who go and come back, it's a great opportunity. You go there, you earn money, you remit funds back to your family. And you know, there's a kind of win-win. At the end of your contract, you return, and maybe you could go again and again and again. But if you go and you stay, then they'll just scrap the scheme and say, well, this is not going to work.
I mean, that's going to be the problem, because at the end of the time, many people might want to stay. I mean, returning, it's going to, except and until if there is something very concrete, maybe a guarantor or something.
I know something of that will happen.
Yeah, even if you put a guarantor.
It's going to be tough, though. You know, I know it's going to be tough considering how we are.
For some people, the temptation will be so great. They won't care about whether they're spoiling it for the rest of the Gambia. For their own selfish reasons, if they can slip through the crack and escape and meld into Spanish society or whatever, they'll do it and they won't care. And that's a shame. That's going to be a shame.
Boy, I'll tell you, one have to utilize opportunities and also allow other people to get the benefit as well. I mean, but it's definitely this thing needs to be looked at properly, and the people that the first batch.
But perhaps you guys can discuss it when you come, so we can choose another story. Otherwise, we're discussing something.
Yeah, so Abdul Sise is also watching this program. If I can remember,
our cameraman?
he was here. No, he was here last week on safety precaution.
Oh, yes, yes,
Yes,
yes.
Abdou Cisse, he said
Yes,
he's
Abdou,
sending
yes.
his regards to the team here.
And I send him back my regards. He's a regular
He follows
contact
this
on,
program
on WhatsApp.
a
Yes.
lot, a lot. Yeah, so the people of Sukuta are telling the government to stop clearing their Salaji forests for private companies.
Ooh.
Salaji?
Sukuta.
They're telling them to stop clearing, Salaji Forest Park for private companies.
If that is what is happening, we should try and find out.
Find out if that
I
is the
think we
case.
should try and find out. And if we can speak to our own Abdou Cisse, who is a Sukutarian, and he might be able to tell us. Because if that is happening, you know, we keep talking about planting trees. We can't be clearing forests and we're talking about planting trees.
Yeah.
You know, we want to have our cake and eat it. You know, yeah, you know, yeah. I think that one has to be looked into.
Have you realized something?
What?
Since what is how is Jomai's party called again? The
Pastef.
Pastef?
I almost forgot. I wanted to say Bena Boko Yakar.
Oh,
Macky
that's
Sall.
It's the other guys.
Yeah, so since Pastef, we've not been hearing the clash of rebels within the Casamas region.
No, but it's not always a constant thing, is it? It goes quiet and then it rears its head again. It goes quiet, it rears. So let's not get carried away yet. We're talking about what, 6 months into there. So let's not get too excited.
I've not heard anything like
There's time enough
that.
for that to rear its head again. But yeah, it'll be interesting. But he did say he would reach out to them. So let's hope they do. Yeah.
Gambia among 80 countries calling for respect of China's sovereignty.
Yeah, China's sovereignty. This is, of course, to do with Taiwan, where China is still saying that Taiwan is part of China, which is, in a way, it's true, but in a way, it's not, because there was the breakaway. Chiang Kai-shek took his troops, Kuomintang, took them to Taiwan, and they've been there, and they've set up as a separate country. China has never accepted that. But interestingly, I mean, the Communist Party, which now rules China People's Republic, they were the ones who kind of tried to unify China. China wasn't this single entity that, let's be frank, they pretend it is. They're the ones who tried to make it a single unified entity, and they almost succeeded, apart from Taiwan. And so they've always said that, as far as we're concerned, Taiwan is a rebel breakaway province. One day it will be subsumed back into Greater China, and it will be one China. So Gambia has, for most of Gambia's existence, has supported the one China policy. And the one China policy means that Taiwan is part of China. Taiwan is not a separate country. Not every country recognizes Taiwan, but of course we know famously or infamously here, there was a time when Yahya Jammeh broke off ties with the People's Republic and recognized Taiwan. And so did other countries. So when these countries are talking about it, I mean, talking about 80 countries, there are 198 countries in the world. So it's not even half of them that are saying they support this. So it tells you that there's not a kind of unified view about this.
So what is China claiming? Taiwan belongs to China.
Well, it did, and it was. I mean, it's just that the people who lost the war, People's Liberation Army, which was led by Mao Zedong in 1949, when they won that war decisively.
The Second World War?
No. It was after the Second World War. This was Chinese fighting themselves to gain control of the country. So you had the Communist Party of China, and you had the Kuomintang that was led by a guy called Chiang Kai-shek. So Chiang Kai-shek took his people to Taiwan, and they've been there ever since. And they set up their own country, and it functions pretty much as a country, but China has never accepted that reality. Let's put it that way. They've never accepted that reality. They've always said it is part of China, and one day it will be brought back in formally into being part of China. It's an island, so it can exist. So every now and then they threaten, they go and do military maneuvers around Taiwan just to scare them, and they've said one day we will take it by force if necessary. They might, but both sides would lose lots of people In terms of might, obviously China can do it.
Do it, yeah.
But there doesn't seem to be a kind of diplomatic solution to it.
Oh,
No, there isn't. I mean, there's no way. Because the Taiwanese feel that they are a nation apart. They are a separate country. That's how they feel.
they have their own leadership.
Of course. It's functioning pretty much as a normal country.
Normal country.
And it's quite, it's advanced in just about anything you can think of. In pretty much the same way as mainland China. So for them, you don't see any of their leaders saying, oh, one day we want to join China again. Quite the opposite. I mean, the person who won the recent presidency said quite the opposite, that we don't want to join.
Don't you think China should just forgo that strip
They will
of
never.
Taiwan?
They will never.
Considering the population of China, almost how much?
More than a billion.
More than a billion. You understand?
The world's fastest
Considering the amount of people they have and the amount of land they have, I think they should just forgo Taiwan and focus on other things.
It's not as simple as that. It's a kind of, in a funny way, it's the kind of thing that Putin is trying to say Ukraine is part of Russia. When it's not. Ukraine might have been part of the Soviet Union, but it's a separate place. It's not part of Russia, never has been. And sometimes people confuse the Soviet Union with Russia. But you have all these places like Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan. They were all part of the Soviet Union, but they weren't part of Russia. Now they're all independent countries, Belarusia, so you have all of these. But yeah, no Chinese leader would ever say, yeah, let's just forget about Taiwan. And that person might as well stand down that day. They will always say, as far as we're concerned, the one China policy means that Taiwan is part of China.
But how, do you think they've once tried to dialogue to see how?
But they've tried, but it's never been. It's never come close.
Several occasions.
Oh, several.
But Mr. Ade, but let's find out what leads to the breakaway. China and
there was a war, and you had different sort of aims. You had the communists, and then you had Chiang Kai-shek and his people. Actually, the Americans and the British supported them. And there was a famous incident when a British warship tried to intervene in the Civil War, a ship called HMS Amethyst. And the Chinese attacked it and blew it up. The People's Liberation Army blew it up. And that was a shock to the British because they didn't think the Chinese would dare attack a British warship. Even though they were warned, you're in Chinese waters, get out, turn back. They're like, nah, to hell with you, we're Britain, we can do what we want. And they got, several men were killed on board, and they ended up having to go back, but it was severely damaged. So the British and the Americans were on the side of Chiang Kai-shek and the Kuomintang. And so no, I mean, it's like different ideologies. So, that's why.
Well, let's leave.
Let's China handle their thing. Might.
Let them handle
it. And in Taiwan, they have multi-party elections, which of course we know they don't have in the People's Republic. There is only the one party. Let's be honest, although
so Julia,
they put out this thing saying there are other parties, but there aren't.
We can speak Chinese.
We'll have to learn it one day.
So we have the Furoya newspaper here.
And what do they have?
And similar stories. Government promised to complete OIC roads by March 2025.
Okay.
The OIC roads. If they manage to complete it by 2025,
that's next year.
Yeah.
So most of the major roads have been done, most of them. Then you have the side roads, particularly some of the roads that run parallel. And as I live on one of those, I can tell you that is categorically not done. Because the whole thing has to be a unified, complete thing. At the moment it isn't. You've got the nice big Bertel Harding and all these other ones. And they make travel easy, I have to say. They have improved travel tremendously. I mean, that's
the OIC roads.
Yeah, I'm talking specifically Bertel Harding and all the way, like I said the other day when I told you I drove to Banjul. I mean, from where I am, it took me, 15, 20 minutes on a Sunday. There was no traffic. Just sailed through.
Well, I mean, actually, it makes it very easy for you to fly, the distance, especially if you live within the coastal route, airport junction.
And you know,
It's
sometimes I
easier.
think about these commercial vehicles that ply that route. For them, it must be an absolute, you know, huge bonus for them, because now they can do multiple, you know, trips on the route, where before they might have done 1 or 2. You could probably do 10 now because it's so smooth. That's how big the improvement has been for them. So sometimes we talk about us non-commercial drivers using it, but you think about the commercial drivers, think how many trips you can do on that road, because it's such a smooth road. And it's a great one. You know, people keep telling me you can't eat the roads, and you know, but if the roads were bad, the same people would be complaining probably. But yeah. So
well, it's infrastructure. It's very significant.
And
it
infrastructure
comes with,
is part of
it
development.
comes with a development. I mean, they are all significant. I mean, economic empowerment is significant, but the infrastructure is also important for the country. I mean, since the construction of these routes, I mean, we've seen the comments.
Well, and we've seen in Guinea-Conakry, Mamadi Doumbia, every day. He talks about his infrastructure
on roads projects as well. Yes.
And you know, building a road that's going across the whole, a motorway that's going to traverse the whole of Guinea, and that's his big project.
Well, and I think he came at the right time, because the thing that Guinea-Conakry is struggling with is road and electricity.
Yeah.
These are the two things. As a leader, if you're able to solve them, at least you will gain that confidence from your people.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure they will. Because most of these people that travel to Guinea, they suffer a lot when it comes to the road. Sometimes it takes them 3-4 days before they access Conakry, you know, because of bad road conditions.
Yeah. So he's very much trying to address that, and he's trying to decentralize it and make sure that, as he says, every corner of Guinea benefits, not just Conakry. And similar to what they're doing in Senegal. We heard what Diomaye Faye and Ousmane Sonko said when they launched their 25-year plan. They want to decentralize. You can't have Dakar having 0.3% of the land area and 45% of GDP. I mean, that's crazy.
That's insane.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yes, Julde.
So another story on the Point newspaper, their lead story actually, deputies urged to reintroduce Chapter 5 in draft constitution for public trust. Chapter 5 has to do with leadership and integrity.
Yes.
Of the,
Yes. Yes. So they want it reintroduced.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you can introduce it, but if it's not enforced or complied with, or then it's just something on a piece of paper. So, I mean, I don't like these kind of what people would call gesture politics. Bring something in if it's going to mean something. You know, don't just have it there for the sake of having it there. So yeah, I mean, they can bring it in if they want, but you know, will anybody abide by it? That's the thing.
That's the thing.
So yeah, bring it on, as they say. What else is there?
Exactly. So, any other story before we wrap up this segment?
On the foreign,
It's almost time.
That's all right.
Foreign Minister Tangara's goodwill message at Commonwealth election. I don't know what the goodwill. Have you read the goodwill message?
He thanked the.
That one.
Yeah, he thanked those who voted for him, and he congratulated the winner. He was unsuccessful in his bid to be the Secretary General of the Commonwealth, and he congratulated Shirley Botry, and be interesting to see how she handles the job. You know, Balde was asking us yesterday when we discussed this about, you know, how is she going to do, and if Tangara had been the Secretary General, would Gambia benefit? And we were trying to kind of debate whether that sort of thing can happen just because you're the Secretary General. It might put a lot of focus on your country, because people now recognize, oh, you're the Secretary General and you come from this country. Yeah, and also it was a shame that West Africans never agreed on a single candidate. So you had two West Africans kind of competing against each other, and one person from Lesotho. So you had Ghana, you had Gambia, and they couldn't agree on a single West African candidate. So unfortunately, you know, he was up against somebody. Well, you know, I went on Shirley Botry's Facebook, and she's quite slick, lots of nice videos about why she wanted to be Secretary General. And she ran a good PR campaign, and it seemed to work.
Well, let's see what will happen. You know, it would have, the position would have favored Gambia more. I mean,
It would be
considering
interesting.
our size,
Yeah. Small
and our
Gambia.
location as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Most people confuse our country to Zambia.
Yeah, because of the name.
It would definitely have put us at a very, you know, good location.
Somebody who surprised me when he confused the two countries was Bruce Grobbelaar, the former Liverpool goalkeeper. When I went there with Standard Chartered, and we said we're from Gambia, he said Zambia. I said no, Gambia in West Africa.
Gambia.
And the reason I was surprised is that he's from Zimbabwe.
Oh,
So he should know that Zambia and Gambia are not this. I was
different.
genuinely surprised.
Yeah.
I said, no, you ought to know better. I said, you know, you're from Zimbabwe.
Some will tell you, is that even a country? We're
Well,
like, yes, we are the smallest country.
We had to get out our phones and show him where it was on the map.
But Mr. Ade, we're not the smallest in the world.
No, of course not.
No,
we know
no.
that. We know that. We're not even the
Which
smallest
one
in
is
Africa.
that? Which one
We're the
is that?
smallest on the African
On
continent.
the African continent.
But not the smallest
But
in
not the
Africa,
smallest in the world,
you know.
you know.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Ade, for reviewing this.
Always a
papers with us.
pleasure and nice to have your co-host back.
Yes, Aji Julde. Good to have you here. At
Thank
least
you.
the mood has changed today.
Merci, merci.
Merci beaucoup.
I think we're supposed to be taking photos later, are we?
Oh yeah, absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's why I was mentioning.
But I think we'll release you,
that's why I was
and then you'll
mentioning
be
the show.
coming back again.
Inshallah.
Yes, yes. So viewers, we'll take a short break. After the break, then we will go to the next segment. We'll be right back.
The all-new Q Mobile. Rediscover the essence of mobile communication with a device that brings you back to basics. Quality, simplicity, and reliability. The Q Mobile is designed to fit seamlessly into your life, offering essential features without the fuss. 72-hour battery life, keeping you connected longer. Listen to news, prayers, or your favorite shows with the FM radio on Q Phone. A built-in torchlight, always ready when you need it, memory card slot for expandable storage, and dual SIM capability for flexibility and convenience. Why wait? Step into any of our care centers today and get your hands on the most affordable phone for just $600. Plus, enjoy a bonus package of 300 minutes talk time and 300 SMS spread over 3 months. Absolutely free. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Senior Boss. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Atanong, Oro Mobile amen keso pura andere Q Mobile. Mobile no yade jamano. Tenon kadi no webi na fitora golmo. Tenon mojogi piji bui. Battery on ko bal etati. FM radio. Lampu. Memory card storage. Ko SIM card ili o jettata pura andre de dual SIM. Dogu joni ya haka customer care center jameng. Soda odo mobile. Temedde jeego rek te a heɓay temed tati minitaji ɗi annduɗa a wowlay te non a heɓay kadi ko ɓura andrede temed tati sms te a yoɓata hay hunde ɓe sendanama ɗum e nder lebbi tati si tawiɗa faalahin ko laaɓi noddu qcell customer care e 111 qcell suñu bos miren udditi laawol ngol si woɓɓe jokki ɗum no yaadi e sartaji.
Felenting a Q-Smart and Q-Smart Plus na falie hade natal seniaringol set aka wallata akata bake yenyin soto kat ko mobile tariyarin ba andum foka pare ala batterio beta ala wati janda aka ji Q-Smart ya 5.9 immersive display la soto nyindu mu dalasi wuli sabanin kemenani da malati ni mobile o nyin sang iba bondulo soto la min tata for 15 GB andum kemeni muang free talk time fanam betara yele warning keme saba SMS o foka pare nyimbe mu free lati ni mobile o nyin sang walante fana ni lafta Q-Smart Plus la wo fanam bijele ice screen warman bala soto minketa 6.5 inches te anin dalasi wuli nani damma isa nyi mobile o soto no andu foka pare afana nim bundle package ole nata iba 30 GB data soto la yekeme saba SMS o soto ani yekeme ni muang talk time soto nyimbe dum hani feng ita jola kana tu koma ila Q-Smart ni ila Q-Smart Plus soto B kabo Q-Cell isa nyi mobile o soto no B na customer care build o mimba nyi banko kan momo lafta kuma ko yo moy lañinto isanna customer care bunjulola ni 111 QCell suñu boss dole silo wala dole ya bulan numa ñindum ani sartol lenata
It's happy time. Get 50% off all calls to any network. Enjoy calls every day to any network from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Is it too good to be true? QCell. We innovate, others follow. As the fastest growing GSM company in the Gambia, QCell has the widest 4G plus coverage in the country, 3 times faster internet speed than our competitors. So switch now and dial *335# and enjoy what true 4G feels like. QCell, the Gambia's trusted network.
We are back. You're watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Masuri Balde. Now let's move to the next segment of this program. That's the Women's Association for Victims Empowerment. And of course, it's important for us to engage them on some of their activities. And we'll be treating women's transition to economic empowerment. We have Zainab Low, co-founder, Mariama J. Cisse, Zainab Low Balde, right? Yes, co-founder, and Mariam J. Cisse, programs coordinator. Ladies, welcome to this program.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's good to have you people here. When I saw your letter, when they sent it on my desk, I was like, this is interesting.
Right.
So it's important to invite these people. That's why I've been trying to reach you people yesterday. But thank God you finally made it. Yeah, so Julde, we'll start with Zainab.
Yes.
As a co-founder, what motivates you and your team to come up with this?
Good morning. Thank you for having us today. I'll just give you a brief background as to how WAVE was established. It was founded on the backs of women, founded by 7 women who were very keen in the transitional justice process. But there was a huge gap in women's participation through the transitional justice process, through the TRRC's process. Women were not very forthcoming with their issues because of a lot of barriers, gender norms, societal norms, cultural norms, religious background, religious barriers, and just that atmosphere of judging people when they come up with their issues. So we thought it wise to build a platform for women to feel safe and for them to come forth with the issues that they're going through in their daily lives, but also to support their registration with the TRRC process. That was how we started with WAVE, and we highlighted a lot of different categories of victims, especially the witch hunt campaign victims in the different communities. And thereon we started, building on with other victims who have gone through different sorts of violations. In some events, they're not the primary victims, but they're the secondary victims. For example, if you have victims of enforced disappearances, if the family member is no longer there, the next of kin or the persons that were relying on him or her suffer. So that was why we saw the need to bring them and just build a platform where they have that safe space to talk about issues of concern to them, but also to get the necessary support that they're supposed to get. Yeah, that was how we founded WAVE in 2019, and from then on we have been working with different communities in the Gambia, different categories of victims, just supporting them through their healing process. Yeah.
So since the organization was established in 2019, what specific programs were you focused on in helping these women transition from recovery to empowerment?
So like I said, we built a platform for them to be able to speak about their issues. Then there's what we call the primary responsibility that the state has to oblige to. So we build that gap of communication between the victims and the state, and we empower them to sit on those platforms as well, to have those face-to-face discussions with the state, so they understand that these are victims who had gone through serious human rights violations, and the state needs to cater to their needs. But also in the interim, we support with some of their immediate needs. We know that the TRC's process has ended, but the implementation of the recommendations are going on. But it's slow-paced. It has to go through a process. Meanwhile, victims are living with issues that are of immediate needs. So we support with their transition, with their journey. We support them with medical. We support them with psychosocial support. We support with livelihood support in the events where we can. I'll let Jakeba talk about Kermot Ali, a community that has been, they've been displaced from Gambia to Senegal, and they are not recognized by Gambia or Senegal. So we support them with the needs that they have and that the state is not catering to.
I think they were on the TRRC a lot.
Yes, they were.
Yes,
they were.
It's a very famous, okay. What are the main barriers, women face in achieving economic empowerment?
There's a lot of barriers that we face. For example, we're here to talk about the Women's Empowerment and Gender Equality program that we did last week. So we see that women don't usually have the support that they need. They don't have that. Sometimes there's a lot of factors that come in between. For example, it's that issue of just feeling the need or just feeling accepted by society. Because the people that we deal with are victims who are going through serious trauma. And they just feel that they're in a state where they feel, I can't do anything. I'm helpless. So we support them by telling them that you have a meaning to life. You're able to do certain things. Despite the fact that you are a victim and you feel that you're stigmatized, you should be able to, take a step from your victimhood to surviving what you had gone through. So we educate them. We let them know that this is not the end of the road for you. It has happened, but you have to take that step. And we take those steps with them as well. So we empower them in different ways. The challenges they face, maybe they don't have the support that they're supposed to get. And, the platforms are not there as well for them to speak out, to get the necessary support that they should get. Yeah.
So in that case, how do you tailor your programs to address the specific needs of these victims? Because you have trauma, there are others who have skills gap, others are having the issue of confidence. So how do you really tailor your programs to address their diverse needs?
Okay, I'm just going to come in to add on to what Zainab had said.
Okay.
In the different regions, we have women support groups, which are established. So these women support groups are created to provide a network and a safe space for these women. And as an organization, we actually understand sometimes we might have limitation. So we actually big on collaboration, on partnership with organizations like Peace of Mind, who provide MHPSS to these victims. And every month we have what we call the MHPSS group. We have expressive art therapy, and we have a safe space where we bring these women, or we go to their communities and kind of support them in their healing process. And we also work with Ngaima Sise, who is the renowned psychologist in the Gambia, who also support in terms of providing that group therapy, group counseling, and also individual counseling to these victims, understanding the trauma and everything that they've been through over the last couple of years to kind of support them through their healing process. And part of the whole empowerment, some of the barriers sometimes is from the stigma and discrimination that they have within community. Let me use Kermot Ali as an example. Because they were displaced and because of how they practice their religions were actually different. They actually have so many skills, like they know how to knit, they know how to do bed sheets, they know how to sew, but they could not have access to the market because they were being discriminated against. So some of WAVE program are tailored towards social cohesion activities that are able to support support these women to regain that confidence, to be able to build a space where they can be able to interact with other communities and be able to have that access to the market. During last year, we had a project with UNDP that was also promoting their resilience, where we partnered with Boss Women to go into the community to provide financial literacy skills, because even if you provide them with the capital for sustainability, they have to be able to know how to sustain that business, know how to be able to create that market. So we did that, and we trained them in terms of tie and dye, to also increase their knowledge on how to do the knitting, the bed sheets, and we provide that market for them. We actually take some of the products that they sell, and whenever we have outreach activities or we are going to meetings, we take those and show it to partners and also help them market it. So that is also a form of empowerment specific to that community, and we leverage, it's not like an individual, but we leverage on the women support group that we've created within those community as a local structure, which we use as an established mechanisms to be able to sustain those efforts and those supports and empowerment we've been giving to them.
So as part of the program, you conducted financial literacy and also help build their skills gap. But as part of the program, do you have initiatives like microloans, grants, and savings programs for these women after they started their businesses?
So through the financial literacy program, because it's not like an individual, because we would not give individual, we leverage on the group. So they were taught techniques on how to be able to multiply the income that they make. At the beginning, through the UNDP, we were able to purchase the materials that they would need for the startup, the batik, the sleepers, the beading, all of those, and also bring individuals who would teach them. So in terms of sustainability, is left within the group. And through the knowledge and skills, till date, the business is still ongoing. And that is why during the Alliance program, we had some of them come there to kind of display, where we created a marketplace within and open it to the public, where they can be able to come and buy and see what they're actually doing. And we also had different women, also women living with disability, part of it. Our women support group in KMC, our women in Brikamaba. So we had diverse different victims, and not just victims, but different women who are into different, that have been supported from our programs.
Yes,
I just wanted to add to what she said, just to highlight the fact that we're also trying to mainstream other women who are not victims as well. Because we rebranded lately, we started calling, we called Women's Association for Women and Victims Empowerment. So we're trying to mainstream persons living with disabilities because of the challenges they face in society. Understanding that there's an act, there's a Disability Act, but it's not well popularized for people to understand that these are also people who are part of the society. We also need to support them. We also need to bring them forth on what they're doing. They're also facing challenges that are not very outspoken about. People don't even speak about the problems. I think just yesterday or 2 days ago, I was on radio, and my colleague was telling me that he was going home, met a lady who was on a wheelchair looking for a taxi. All the taxis were passing by till one of them stopped, and the taxi had to charge her double just because she's in a wheelchair. But that's not fair. That's not how it's supposed to be. So we also do advocacy to advocate for the rights of persons living with disabilities. There should be provisions for them. There should be provisions for them in every place that they go, in vehicles, in public places, public amenities, structures. So they're also reflected in everything they do, because they live with serious challenges as well.
Absolutely. Do you also work with sister organizations, I mean, to at least support what you're doing? Because advocating for the rights of the disabled person, you know, I am pretty sure there are also other organizations that are doing this. So are you working with them?
Yes, we're partnering with the Gambia Federation for the Disabled, because it's the umbrella body that holds all the different small disability organizations that are working around this issue. So we are partnering with them, but that's in the interim. We're also going to partner with other organizations for them to also try and mainstream all of these issues in the work they're doing. So there's consistency and there's sustainability as well.
Yeah. To also add up to what she has said, WAVE as an organization, we leverage a lot on partnership and collaborations, because we understand our limitation and we see other organizations that also have strength in different domains. The Gambian Federation for Disabled, they have up to 16 or 17 DPOs across the regions who are focused on different, the hard-arm sharing, the GOVI and all of those. So we work with them to be able to support all of these DPOs. And right now we have a project under the OACHR, Office of the Human Rights High Commission, and UNDP, which is also focused on popularization of the Disability Act and also the TRRC recommendations for persons living with disability. Because as part of the TRRC, you would notice that some people, as a result of the violation and abuse, are still living with disability condition as a result of that. So they are now part of the umbrella of persons living with disability. And that is as a result of the violation, which the state is actually the custodian and was perpetrated on that. So we actually leverage on all of these different networks. We work with Boss Women who has skills on that. We work with Peace of Mind, different organizations on how we can be able to sustain and also maximize our effort and impact within communities.
So since you started in 2019, how would you measure the success of women that have completed your program?
There are so many things we've been able to do in terms of, I will allow Zainab to talk about that, in terms of women participation, especially with registration in the TRRC process, in terms of we being the first, we being the only community, being the only organization that are working closely with the Kmart Alley situation. We were able to have strides in terms of, in that community for the last 14 years, before our intervention, kids were unable to go to school. And right now we have 100 kids enrolled in school.
Going to school.
Going to school. Women were unable to access health care. They could not have maternal health care as a result of the discrimination and the abuses around the community. But through our interventions, we were able to bridge that gap. They were rendered stateless to the extent that many members of the community don't have their national ID cards as Gambians. We were able to, at least right now, support up to 20 of these people to be able to regain their ID card. So all of these are different impacts we've been able to make. I will allow Zainab to also talk about the witch hunt communities and how we've been able to support so many of them to register within the TRRC at that time to be able to have access to reparation, interim reparation, and also be involved in the post-TRRC process.
Okay, Ms. Zainab?
Yeah, I'll just leverage on where she left on. We've supported a number of women. It's much more than the Kmart Alley, the witch hunt campaign. Like I said, a number of other categories of victims. Victims of sexual and gender-based violence. Victims of enforced disappearances. We've built that platform for them. Like she says, we usually have our women support groups where women come and talk about issues of concern. We have MHPSS services, that's mental health and psychosocial support given to them. And from the feedback we've gotten from them, they're able to tell us that they feel better. They feel that they can actually internalize what they've gone through. They are now able to support themselves. For example, if they're going through trauma, if they're going through the stigma, they're able to stand on their feet. We've also supported other people with referral mechanisms. For example, when you come to us and it's because, okay, let's say, for example, issues you're dealing with does not fall under what we do. We have the referral pathways, the mechanisms where we support you and walk you through other organizations that can give you the support. And from what we've done so far, we're able to support a number of women, access justice, you know, access reparations, like she said, access, for example, there was a group of women who fell under enforced disappearance, whose husbands were enforced disappeared, and they wanted access to what they call, they were soldiers, their husbands were soldiers, they wanted access to what they call widows and orphans pension scheme, because this was something they were paying for before they were disappeared. So when they went to the army, they told them that they had to issue a death certificate. And in this case, we cannot provide a death certificate because they only presume death from the TRRC's process. So we're able to support them with legal support to at least address those issues. Now they're able to get access to those monies, to the lands that their husbands were entitled to, and the all the other benefits that they should be able to get.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Zainab Lo Baldef and Mariam JCC for coming. We've already exhausted the time. And, you know, we hope to engage you more in the future because I think what you're doing, it's very interesting, especially the people of Kermode Ali. You know, these are very important steps to take, to help people, gain certain things that they were denied of. This world is so unfair sometimes, the way things work, you know, but hopefully with organizations like yours, you would definitely make a positive change. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you. And thank you for having us.
Yes.
Right.
So viewers, we'll take a short break. After the break, we'll be back.
QCell, the fastest growing network in the Gambia, now presents to you the eSIM. QCell's eSIM allows you to electronically scan a code and join the world of digital SIM cards. Customers with physical SIMs can easily switch to the eSIM as well. So rush now and get connected with an eSIM and start using the latest mobile technology with your trusted GSM operator. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunubus. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Get a QCell SIM card for free. Yes, absolutely free. Walk into any of our customer care centers and get a SIM free of charge. With a QCell SIM card, you can get the fastest and the most reliable internet plus wide range of amazing services. So rush now to any of our care centers and get a free SIM now. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell Sunubus. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Have you been looking for the perfect indoor router with long-range Wi-Fi coverage and faster internet speed connecting all your smart devices? Well, we present to you the QCell Indoor Router, a router that has all you need and much more. For just $4,275, you can get 4G plus internet speed, wide coverage, and connect up to 15 devices. That's not all. The indoor router can be used for both office and home needs. So, enhance your internet experience with our indoor router. For more info, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunubus. We innovate, others follow.
With so many things to do in a single day, it's important to have a network you can trust. When there's family and friends to connect with and business calls to make, you need a network that is reliable and fast. Talk longer, browse faster, go farther, and roam wider. When your network is solid, the world is your oyster. QCell, your trusted network in the Gambia.
Banking the smart way with the new Ajibank mobile app. Transfer money to any bank account in the Gambia. Top up airtime for all networks. Pay utility bills. Check your account balance and view mini statements. Request for ATM cards. Request for checkbooks and more in a single touch. So, do your banking in a smart way. Do your banking now with Ajibank mobile app. Every time is banking time. Ajibank, your investment partner.
The future is now. With QCell's 5G network, experience speeds like never before with our new 5G Rocket Fixed Internet plan. Get speeds from 10 Mbps to 100 Mbps. Your 5G-enabled devices. Walk into QCell headquarters to get one of our 5G routers and experience the true feeling of 5G. Only with QCell. QCell brings you the future. Tech, innovation, incredible speed. The future is now. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunubus. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
We are back. You are watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Masuri Balde. Now let's head to the last segment of this program. Let's deal with the strengthening ties, new bilateral labor agreement with Spain and Saudi Arabia, the Gambia. And we have Mr. Faba Jame, Director of Employment Ministry of Trade, and of course, Usman Sane, Principal Labor Officer. Gentlemen, welcome to QTV this morning.
Thank you.
It's good to have you here.
Thank you.
First of all, let's start with Director. What are the main objectives of this labor agreement?
Thank you very much for having me to this program. We've been yearning to have such a program because a lot of calls have been received and then many more are hanging. And then our purpose of coming is to engage the public to understand the modalities for the bilateral labor agreement that the Gambia government has signed with specific countries, Saudi Arabia particularly here. So the objective actually is to, one, look at the menace that we have faced in the irregular pathways, and then two is the employment creation that we are also looking at, because already we have launched a national employment policy in 2022, and then we are looking at a target of 150,000 jobs to be created. The jobs are to be created for Gambians, irrespective whether they are in the country or outside the country.
Oh, okay.
So usually bilateral labor agreements are meant to fill the gaps between two countries. One country can have surplus in terms of labor, the other country can have a gap in terms of labor supply. So this is why we thought it wise to engage countries like Saudi Arabia and others to exchange manpower. And then for now, we are in the process of that exchange.
Wow, interesting.
So in terms of the types of jobs and sectors that are covered in these agreements, what are these jobs and sectors that are covered?
We have not specifically highlighted sectors, but it's a gradual process. So for now, what we are trying to deal with, just so that we are able to test the waters, is starting with domestic work. That is the very rudimentary stage of service provider, job in Saudi. So right now we are recruiting for domestic workers, and then we hope to escalate to skill, semi-skilled sector, in various sectors rather. Yeah.
Well, it's important with Saudi Arabia and the Middle East itself, you know, having a very black paint when it comes to workers' treatment. I mean, how are we going to be so it's not going to be the same for our people that are going through this agreement?
In fact, that was also one of the reasons why the government is intervening, just so that at least we can regularize the pathways, but also formalize the whole institution of labor supply.
I hope it's not human trafficking professionally.
I'm coming. Government cannot engage in human trafficking, but like you mentioned, initially we have that black experience of having people being moved from the Gambia to the Gulf states, and then we have seen a lot of abuse for those periods. So in fact, this is why now government is coming with laws, but it's also coming with this option of bilateral labor agreement with countries, so that at least we formalize, and then we take people through those formal routes, and then take them into the destination that we have signed this bilateral labor agreement. We understand what has happened, and then this is why it is the reason why we are coming to ensure that at least we change the status quo to ensure that at least there is safety, there is security.
So there is an agreement that there will be a protection of workers while they are in the Middle East?
That's the whole reason of the bilateral labor agreement. You call it agreement because two countries sit together, they share their thoughts in terms of what is going to happen in the supply of labor to countries. So we ensure that at least we reflect our national laws in terms of labor. We also reflect international labor organization provision or conventions, just so that at least we provide that safety for young people who will be going to this Gulf state, just so that at least they can offer the service that they
Let us not let Usman hanging. Let's
yes, at
engage
this
him.
point.
Usman, yes. Julda.
It would be interesting for you to tell us the duration of this agreement and whether it is subjected to renew or expansion.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. And then this is a good program, as my director has said. There are a lot of speculations, a lot of talks, individually, opinions and the like. So it's our responsibility to enlighten people about the whole issue surrounding this bilateral agreement. As director has said, bilateral agreements, these are something that has been happening years. Because even if you look at the history, starting from in Africa, it was since the 1950s. Bilateral agreement has signed. Africa has engaged in the bilateral agreement. Yeah. So as director has said, Gambia has signed bilateral agreement with Saudi Arabia, and then now we are working on the implementation of that agreement. And then people have thought, because
How
as you
about
said,
the situation in Spain? I don't hear you talk about the issue of Spain much.
Yeah, no, we'll come to that, because that one is signed and we haven't started implementation. That's why we are not talking about it. But this one, the implementation has already been started. Yeah, so that's why we are more of Saudi than Spain, because for Spain is signed, but the implementation is not started.
Okay.
Yeah, but for Saudi, it's signed and then the implementation has started.
Okay.
Yeah, so with regards to the history, you're right, people are saying what they know, what they feel there, but, government also has come with measures. To protect its citizen, because it's a responsibility of the government to protect its citizen wherever they are, within the country and outside the country. Yeah, so people are going individually. You don't know, people are going. So what can we do to mitigate, that risk of people going individually is to enter into agreement with countries. So that's why we signed this agreement with Saudi. So it's like, we don't say when people go there, they will have a problem. But we are saying that there are mitigation measures that have been in place to address. That's why, because for example, like we're launching recruitment agencies that are venturing into this recruitment. It doesn't mean that everybody is venturing into recruitment. There are recruitment agencies that are launching to do recruitment.
At
the Gambia here.
But how about recruitment agencies in Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Saudi itself, they have a system. They have a Monas system. So that system is like, only the recruitment agencies that are launching here have access to that system. Do you understand? And then that system, they are seeing everything, we are seeing everything. Yeah. So now, if you leave the Gambia here, we know the number of people that are going, because the recruitment agency are launching to do the recruitment here. After the recruitment, they will send us the final list. And then we will know the number of people that has been recruited to go to Saudi under the agreement. So, and then when they go, also the Minister of Foreign Affairs is fully in picture, especially the embassy. You understand? They are fully in picture about all the issue. So they will have, because the agreement is all the individual, their contract employment, the Foreign Affairs Minister of the embassy will have copies of their contract. So when they go, the first contact is the embassy. They know the number of people that has arrived, where they are going, their destination, their contact number, everything. So in the event that they have a problem, they can contact the embassy and then.
So what is the duration of the agreement itself?
No, the agreement is 2 years.
And how often can Gambians go? Is it on yearly basis, monthly basis? How is it going to be?
No, the agreement is 2 years. And then now is like we recruit based on the demand.
Okay.
Yeah. It can be monthly, it can be weekly, it can be fortnightly, it can be every 6 months. It depends on the need.
Need of what and who?
No, the demand, because they are sending us the demand. We want this number.
Okay, we want
and then
this
we send them that number.
Okay.
If they say that, okay, we want another number, we just recruit and send them another
Okay,
number.
so Director,
Yeah.
what is the procedure? What qualifies a person to be able to be granted this opportunity to travel to Saudi Arabia?
And hope it will not be a family enterprise.
Yes, I mean we need to table out those things.
Maybe if it is family, it's a Gambian family enterprise. But we've noted that this is a program, it's a national program. It's not based on a particular region. It's not based on a particular whatsoever. It's a national program.
Okay.
And then the agreement entails that it's open to young Gambians, particularly age from 18 to 40.
And then I'm qualified to go, Jude.
Of course.
Yeah.
We'll screen. We'll screen because we will not also want to lose the cream.
Q Group, I'm on my way to Saudi Arabia. Yes.
So to be qualified, or the criteria that are set, you have to be a Gambian within the age bracket 18 to 40. And then you must be in possession of a Gambian passport to prove evidence that you are a Gambian. And then we also have the police certificate of character.
Oh, okay.
You also have to be medically fit. So these are things that you must possess, and then you engage the private recruitment agency for you to be enlisted. And to be enlisted, they take your CV. So, but what we are saying, this is not a complex skill to be embarked on a domestic work in a particular country. So it's as basic as even grade 6, grade 9, grade 12, whichever of the grade, just so that at least you can understand basic instruction of English. And then sometimes we said you can be Arab schools students.
Arab can be an advantage.
Advantage.
Opportunity for the Arabic students.
Arabic students to participate in this process. So there are training aspects also, just so that at least if you are going to serve as a domestic worker, then one would expect how do you use this household equipment, like cookers, like laundry, washing machine, electric iron. We train you around all these things just so that at least it can give you some competence and then be able to use them once you are there. So we also do pre-departure training with his office, because if you are going to be engaged in a domestic work in a particular country, he will give the details of pre-departure, what that entails.
Okay.
So these are some of the things that we will put together to qualify somebody for the domestic work.
Okay.
So, but what we are saying is zero cost. Even is free. Everything should be free. Even whereas you are in possession of the documents that I have mentioned, once you have receipts on them, if you are qualified to go, then you will be reimbursed all that cost. And then the cost of transportation also will depend on the employer. He is going to provide you the ticket to go to Saudi Arabia to get this opportunity.
Okay. How about the Jolas and Series who are going there and they will abscond? How are you dealing with that?
Yeah, of course, this is a in-house function. So we don't say you are going to be strictly
monitored.
Yes, because you'll be in the household to work. So yes, there are issues of abscond, but the way the system is structured, it has...
well, for Saudi Arabia, if you abscond, it's your business. If you abscond, it's your business. It's a Sharia country, and at the same time, they have their laws. You understand? So I don't think it's better when you go and you are employed somewhere, you follow the rules and regulations. When your time is up, you come back to your country.
In fact, that is the essence of ensuring that at least we monitor who goes and what you do there and what contract period that you have.
Thank you.
So we do all this thing just so that at least we can ensure that you have an obligation to serve,
Yes.
but you also have an obligation to see that the program is sustained.
Director, I mean, we've exhausted the time, but when do you want to come on this program again? We want to invite you for another time again, so that we can have more time.
We want more time. Just give us a schedule.
But Director, why not you also buy a live program on QTV?
No, of course we are coming to that, but this is a start.
Yes.
And then there is a rush on the opportunity.
Yes.
And already scammers have started.
Yeah, this is why, in fact, we don't want scammers, but because there are penalties.
Yes.
The label is
so the bumper is already in. Thank you very much, Director, for coming. We appreciate your time. We are also saying, Usman, thank you. Julde Njai, this is all we have. You know, we'll be back here. I'll be back here on Monday. So Ade and the team will take care of QTV this morning. Until then, have a wonderful day.